The 10-year Treasury yield is now above 4.5%, or it has hit 4.5%, 4.6% in recent time. Why? Well, very simply, they are selling Treasury bills more than they're buying, so they need to obviously attract more buyers. So what happens is, as you're selling the Treasury, the yield goes up. And the higher it goes, the worse it is for the national debt. What does it mean? What it really means that it's going to become more expensive to refinance the debt. But it also means that we might have a credit issue with the national debt of the United States. The US has never defaulted on that debt. Could it happen? Probably not, because all we need to do, and that's what's going to happen, the Federal Reserve is going to eat its young. It's going to drink the Kool-Aid. It's basically going to print dollars. It's called quantitative easing, and it's happening more likely than not to pay down that debt. What do they need to do it this year? Because there's $9 trillion coming due, $6 trillion coming due in the first 6 months. Where are you going to get that? It would appear that the buyers are getting scarcier and scarcier. There's less and less of buyers of treasuries. Why? I guess they're concerned about the credit risk, or they're simply dumping the treasuries, and they say, I don't want your dollars anymore. We want to do business with ourselves. We don't need you anymore. This is a very, very, very black swan coming up. Now, my concern is at some point, Trump is going to say, and mark my words, we're not going to pay down that debt. We are going to default on the debt if this is how it's going to be. This is what he did with his casinos. So that's something to be concerned about. That's never going to happen. Well, neither we're going to be 145% tariffs or now 50% tariffs on Europe. And again, we're going back with 25% tariffs on the iPhone. Well, all these crazy things that you think are crazy are not that crazy because he's saying it. Don't try to understand why he's saying it. Understand for your portfolio needs to be protected. You need to start buying value. You need to start hedging long-term with some puts. You need to do something in the event where the words is going to come out of his mouth saying, I am not going to pay down. We're just going to simply default if that's how it is. Because at the end of the day, that debt is unmanageable and unpayable. I know. No one would ever say a stupid thing like that. But other things have been said. That is always a possibility. And then you have a huge market meltdown. Huge.